Hello, Whovian dudes. Here we are, guys. We're going to discuss The Magician's Apprentice. And of course, as always, I have a bunch of great friends with me here today, and we're just going to go randomly around to everybody, and I want you guys to tell me everything you thought about this episode, and please give it a rating when you are done. So today we are going to go to my buddy from Canada in a trailer park, Steve Stott.
Well, I didn't watch it as much as you did, Mike. I only saw it once so far. Very, very busy. Lots going on in this. Wow. I mean, it was all over the place. I watched the prequel first, which is probably a good idea. But yeah, it was kind of crazy, everything going on. It almost seemed to me that the Doctor picked up a new companion in this. It almost looked like the Master was sort of side by side with them all. She wanted to be, or Missy, sorry. I guess I'm going to have to get used to saying that. Yeah, she was the baddie at the start, but then all of a sudden she sort of found out that she was being taken along for the ride and was in just as much danger as anyone else as we went along. Davros showing up, wow. I mean, I didn't expect that at all. I've been avoiding spoilers, and I didn't see that one coming. He looked like he's getting up there, barely enough energy to even hold his head up. But a return to Skaro, the hands coming out of the ground, that would be creepy. I think I know what I'm going to decorate my front lawn like this Halloween. I'm pretty sure that'll freak everybody out. But now I can't wait until next week to see what's going on. I mean, clearly he's got a gun in his hand and it looks like he's going to kill young Davros. Wow, that was intense. I was like right on the edge of my seat pretty much the whole time checking it out. Excellent writing. What a start to the season. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I don't know if we're giving ratings now, but definitely 10 out of 10 for me.
Starting it off with a 10 out of 10, guys. So let's go to, let's see. All right. Our Dutch dude. There you go, from the Netherlands, Mr. Kevin. What did you think about this story, man?
It was freaking awesome. I cannot, say one bad word in this one, but man, there was so much awesome stuff in it. The youth was passing by. The Jadoon was also in it. The snake dude. That was very creepy. The Sisters of Khan were back. But, man, there's so much dialogue that was so good. Every minute, every moment, I was like, holy moly. With my hands on my head the entire time sometimes. Also with that last part. But, when the kid was dropped it, his name, I was like, oh, I was freaking out, really. I was like, yeah, Davros is back. That Jenna Coleman was also very cool in it. Not like last season. She was a bit, whining. But in this season, and it's all good, man. Great start. But when I knew that in this episode, Capaldi was gonna play the guitar, and he was making the instruments on a freaking tank. How awesome is that? Really, and I listen to rock, and metal, all stuff, and that is just so awesome. And also with that he's going to the MIDI, fall. Yeah, that's what. He's going to the old times where he's doing his last days, I think. And then he goes to Davros, and man, Davros is really good in this one. Really good. He looks weak. He really looks weak. He can even not press a button. There was comedy, action, and goosebumps all the time. And at that end, when Clara and Missy were both killed, I was like, Oh, the doctor is going to be pissed. And you saw it in his eyes. The emotion, like, don't kill Clara, please. I begging you. That emotion. I was like, wow, that is serious acting right there. Haven't seen that in a long time in Doctor Who. And that ending. Oh, I was in my hair. I was like, holy moly. This is, he's going to kill him. Oh, and also those classic. They paid finally attention to the classics. Also to Tom Baker and the Sixth Doctor. Awesome. 10 out of 10.
All right, Kevin, man, awesome. I love the enthusiasm, my man. All right, who's our next dude? Well, let's do a dudette this time. Lady Neo, what did you think of this tale?
Me and my mom both watched it actually. She did like it and thoroughly enjoyed it. It has its high points, especially when Davros is showing the doctor all the other footage. I think it was from the fourth, but I think it was from the fifth and sixth and seventh Doctor. Like all that back footage, which is kind of cool. The part with the guitar and the tank, awesome. The thing with Missy. I had a feeling it was Missy controlling the airplanes, but I wasn't too sure. It did have its high points. I wasn't too surprised about anything, maybe because I was hearing things in social media or whatever. And when the ending happened, I wasn't really surprised about that either. Overall, also, it reminded me, the talk with the 12th Doctor and Devros reminded me of a Big Finish audio, I think called Devros. I think that was the 6th Doctor in that one. I'm not too sure. It just reminded me so much about that one for some reason. I don't understand why. But overall, I would give it, until I see the other part, I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. So until I see the other part, watch them both together, then I can make my full rating on it. But so far, 7.5 out of 10.
All right, great, 7.5. Wonderful, Neo. Thank you very much for your input. All right. Texas Tim, man, what do you say about this story, man?
Well, like Neo just pointed out, it's hard to rate this one without seeing the second part. This episode only works as a first episode of 2 parts, or as a season opener that just throws everything in there just to get people talking. It was brilliantly done, I think. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from it, but it is 100% setup. There's no resolution here. And I get the feeling after watching it the third time that the Doctor's playing some kind of long game here, because we don't really see everything the way he sees it. We pretty much see it the way Clara sees it. We don't know. I mean, once again, the companion is the audience identification figure, and we see that what takes place kind of through her eyes in a way. Missy might even know a little bit more than she's letting on, because she just gleefully gets blown up by a Dalek and doesn't care. I mean, obviously they've been transported somewhere or something, because you don't just kill off people like that in the first episode of the series. I don't get what the Doctor's playing at. It's really hard to figure it out just by what we've seen. I think he's playing some kind of long game, and Stephen Moffat does like to do the timey-wimey business. So we'll probably see a little bit more next week about what may have happened in between or what's filling the blanks. Because, for example, at the end, how does he get there? The TARDIS, you just seen the TARDIS destroyed, but you're back to where you were on the field again. This time he's got a gun. Obviously, the implication is he's going to try to change what happened by changing what happened. But, I mean, again, it doesn't really quite add up yet. You won't really be able to know what's going on until you see part 2. I still give it a 10 out of 10, though, because it really is a great setup, and they throw everything in. I mean, you've got Karn, you've got the Shadow Proclamation, you've got Dorium's place, and he's been dead for a couple of series now. You've got the weird snake guy. I mean, he's pretty cool, too. I mean, you've got, on top of that, of course, you got the Master, you got the Daleks, you got Davros. I have to wonder, though, that also, again, going by what the Doctor's doing or whatever it is he's doing, he changed Davros' history by giving him the screwdriver when he was a kid. Because that never happened before. So when you see him later on holding the screwdriver while he's, pretty much dying, his history has been changed because that never happened before. He first meets the Doctor back in Genesis of the Daleks. So, I mean, in other words, just by giving him that screwdriver on that field, changes his history. So we have to see how that plays into it as well. It's what you're getting here is the first I'd say 25% a story from a 100% tale, and you're not, you know, you can only guess as to what you're going to get next week. It's going to figure it out. Again, like I said, I give it a 10 out of 10 because it's a great setup. But like Neo said, it's hard to come up with a rating when you only know part of the story.
So yeah, 10 out of 10. Yeah, it is hard to give it a rating. You know, I just pretty much I'll just go by what the episode just had, what gave us. You know, but definitely I agree. Yeah, still just a piece of a story that we're going to be probably getting throughout the season even. All right, let's go to the man with the hurdy foot. Jimmy, what did you think of this tale, man?
If you haven't seen Genesis of the Daleks, you should watch it after watching this episode or even before. Starts out, there's a war going on. You see a plane shooting at everyone. Then you see a soldier using a bow and arrow trying to take down the plane. But that reminded me of Genesis of the Daleks because their weaponry was a combination of modern weaponry, modern for them, and bows and arrows. So that was a hint that this war is on Skaro. And then, of course, you find out when he reveals his name that this is Skaro. It's a great, not a throwback, but say a continuation of the classics. I watched it, the second time I watched it with the prologue first. And that's how it's already been said. I recommend watching it with the prologue first, then watch this. The prologue actually adds to the episode. It dragged at points, and actually the second time I watched it, I fell asleep. I did not like the characterization of Kate Lethbridge Stewart. As the head of unit, and since 9/11, she should have known long before Clara mentioned it that the planes have fuel. She seemed to be clueless throughout the whole thing. Why she didn't want Missy Master shot after Missy Master killed one of her men and then killed another one of her men just to prove that she was no longer good is beyond me. She's ordering, don't shoot her, do not shoot her. Why? So I did not like her characterization. It was interesting to see, it was actually hinted that Clara has helped Unit out before solo without the Doctor. And it was interesting to see her working with Unit. I did not like Osgood's replacement at all. But I did like how they're still continuing with the classics. They're not ignoring the classics. They had the clips of the previous Doctors who had encountered Davros, which made me think, gee, every time the Doctor spoke to Davros, it was recorded by the Daleks. I did like the Daleks in this one. When Missy gives the Daleks the ultimatum, saying why she's so important and shouldn't be killed. So what are you going to do? Shoot me or not? I was thinking, shoot her. And the Dalek shot her. Oh, great! That's exactly what I wanted you to do. But as been mentioned, it's hard to rate something that's a two-parter and you only seen part one without part two. So I really don't even want to give it a rating. But because it did drag at points as a standalone, I'd give it a 7.
All right, Jimmy, a solid 7. Thank you, sir. All right. Can you believe this? In Germany, it's illegal to stream videos, but, you know, we're able to sneak our buddy Beef Dad in our conversations, man.
I'm not going to bounce up and down like Kevin, but I didn't fall asleep like Jimmy did. As a series opener and a two-parter, it's probably one of the most brilliant setups I've seen in New Who. It really is very clever, very well done, great fun. Nobody expected that guy from the Middle Ages to suddenly become a Dalek with the stalk out of the eye, out the head. I love that. It also reminded me a bit of Clara when she was the omelette girl. Not the omelette, souffle girl. Souffle girl, that's right. Yeah, I loved the new characters that they brought into it. I mean, the snake guy, absolutely superb conception. probably nicked from the Hellraiser films. He looks so like a Cenobite. It's stunning. And I thought to myself, oh my God, we're into Hellraiser now. But brilliantly done. And the cantina, well, nice to see an ood. I do like an ood. I think everybody likes an ood once in a while. Performance-wise, Missy, she took hold of the role by the throat this time. She had played it, I think, up to now, more like a demented Mary Poppins, whereas this time, you had the master, basically. There were echoes of Delgado, for me, in the way she played it. The humour and the just switched the cold killing, vaporizing someone just like that, which is exactly the way Delgado would have done it. And it was just absolutely magic for me. Talking about Clara herself, one of the most controlled pieces of acting I've seen in a while from Jenna Coleman. It was controlled. It was. She knew where she was. She knew what she was doing, and she really kept it together, I think, because the Doctor was rushing about hither and yon and doing all sorts of weirdness, which was quite magic for me. Yeah, everybody talks about the axe, the entry on the tank, but it was actually the way he did the guitar playing that impressed me. I looked at it and I thought Brian May would be proud of you. It looked like any rock guitarist you've ever seen. Yeah, for me, there was magic moments. I wouldn't say, I don't think at any point it dragged for me, because my eyes were on the screen and all over the screen all the time I was watching it. I never gave myself a chance to get bored. Well, the hands, the hands were brilliant. It was a minefield of hands. That is just such a clever idea. And of course, you see what happens to someone who gets caught by the hands. Straight down into the earth. Absolutely superb. Absolutely superb. Yeah, I loved it. As a season opener, and I know it's part of a two-parter, but it makes me really, really, really want to see part 2. So I'm going to give it a 10.
Beautiful, Beefhead, beautiful. And I remember, guys out there that don't know Beefhead, this guy has been around since the first episode aired. So this is our buddy here who watched live the first episode, who happens to give the new episode a 10. And that is beautiful, fellas and ladies out there, isn't it? Now, I am saving Mr. Budweiser for last, so we're going to go to James. What did you think of the story, man?
Great episode. May I just go on to Beef Dad's point? Would it be possible that they're maybe intertwining the Souffle Girl into this, possibly with the Daleks? That would be a possibility. Moffat has been known to... This is timey-wimey. There's going to be a resolution. There could be something intertwined. You never know. He might. I hope they don't know, because that'd be very... I don't know how you'd write that. It'd take a good writing job to make that linked, but you never know. On the story itself, funny, dark, and very good. There's very little I can say bad about it. I will agree with Jimmy a little bit, with the Kate Stewart not telling them not to shoot Missy. That's not what the Brigadier would have done. I think the Brigadier would have shot him on sight, or her on sight. So I will say that was a bit weird. But the story is so good. I mean, I love Davros. Julian Bleach is my favourite Davros of this era, and I think he's my second favourite, just after Michael Wisher. Really close, yeah? But I still think Julian Bleach is absolutely sensational. What a great cast. Really great cast. The only thing that kept Snow on Earth and Jenny's End of Life for me. Really enjoyed him. Really liked seeing him sick. Maybe even a bit bored. I don't know what was wrong. He was, do I have to see you again, Doctor? Oh, please, just go. I like your face this time. When they were showing all the Doctors, obviously that was nice. Nice to intertwine. I like classic references, and this showed a classic reference. and they made it work with the story. That's what we need. We don't need them to show classic references for no apparent reason. Maybe the Sensorized were just casually shown in Time Heist last year. I would have liked a Sensorized story again. Bring the Sensorized back. But this works. It works the story. Very good question. And then that did shock me with the, the little boy down what Tom Baker said. I didn't remember that, so that was good. Really, really well done there, Stephen Moffat. So for me, very funny, very good. It is part of an intertwine. I don't think it's going to be resolved in episode 2. I don't see how that's possible, but we'll see when it comes. I don't think it will be. Everything, anyway. There's too many things to be resolved. I would definitely rate it easy 10. Easy 10.
All right, dude. An easy 10 from James. All right, cool, man. All right, well, keep your seatbelt on there, Mr. Budweiser. We'll get to you in a moment as I see that Mr. Sammy Carter has just dropped in on us. So go ahead, Sammy. I know we talked about it yesterday a few times, and now you got a chance to watch it a few more times. Let us know, what do you feel about this episode, man?
I'm still stunned after yesterday's performance of Missy. It's good job she's on Twitter now, because I was tweeting her about it, and obviously I haven't had a reply yet. But I love the performance of it. I love the fact that you were surprised because you had familiar places that Matt Smith went to, like where Dorian went. I can't remember the exact name of the location, but I'm just going to say Dorian's place because that's where Dorian came from. And then you have the Shadow Proclamation from David Tennant's era made a return, and you also saw Judoon back. And then you also see this Connor Staff guy who's like full of snakes, and I personally think he was there to just frighten the kids, to be honest. I mean, kids have fears of snakes, right? So, of course, you're gonna have that sort of thing in Doctor Who. And then you also have the sisters of Khan from who we last saw with Paul McGann when they were responsible for the War Doctor back in the 50th. Well, not in the 50th anniversary time, but back in the 8th Doctor's timeline. And then you also have Missy, who, like I said before, she certainly made us very believable, particularly with her performance, and the fact that Michelle's certainly upping her game as Missy, and the way she put her face all over that projector, it was like bringing her face in like 3D, and I was like, wow, that was impressive. and then you have like Peter Capaldi doing like the Doctor Who theme on the electric guitar. I mean, come on. I mean, like I was saying on my show yesterday with Mike, he was in the wrong band. I mean, he rocked it out years ago. I don't know, 70s, 80s. This guy rocked it out with a group, and they were jamming and they were doing all kinds of weird guitar stuff. So this guy knows his history with music. So it's good he's bringing it to Doctor Who, because it's a new thing. Doctor playing guitar, we haven't seen that before, so why the hell Peter Capaldi be the first to do that? And then, of course, you have Davros, that little boy unveiling himself as Davros. That was probably the most shocking thing, because a lot of people are saying, how amazing it was that, all this Davros rumors we've heard of for a while all came true, and, it's... I think we needed to know. We needed to know what happened to Davros's past. We needed to know, like, hey, look, Davros is a kid. He was a human before he was Dalek form. You need to learn this stuff, because if you don't know the true facts about Davros, then surely you're not going to know what the series is all about. You ain't going to know anything about the Daleks if you don't know who Davros is. So you're going to need these facts. You're going to need them. And especially if you haven't watched the classic series, you're going to definitely need it. So when it comes to Skaro, I have to say the city does look very identical to the very first Dalek city that was used in 1963. And it's just perfect, really. And also the fact that you got classic Daleks from the 60s. I'm not too sure if they're from an Adventure in Space and Time. They do look similar from that Adventure in Space and Time. The models do, especially the color texture does. But they might be newly designed. I'm not too sure, but they definitely look identical to the ones they used for the docudrama 2 years ago. So they were probably the same prop. But the fact is, we've got classic Daleks movable. We've got special weapons Dalek workable again. We have Daleks from Russell T Davies being used, and especially the Supreme Dalek we haven't seen since Stolen Earth Journey's End. You also have Davros, who's apparently nearing his death. And the fact that the Daleks just shot, they couldn't care less what Missy wanted. Missy would say, hey, let's make an alliance. You let me do the TARDIS. You guys join aboard on me. And then they just turned around and looked to their leader. And what does he say? Maximum extermination. Boom. Missy goes down. Boom. Clara goes down. And then of course they just shoot the TARDIS, and then the biggest highlight of this episode is probably, it just blows my mind when a young kid says, "Are you going to save me?" 10 out of 10.
All right, 10 out of 10, man.